fun. Okay, oh dear.
Oh boy.
Okay, before we get to that, let's go to Rudy in Indiana.
Yes.
Rudy, you're talking to Eric and
guys. What's up? What's up? Happy Sunday to you.
Happy Sunday to you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Great energy from this call. I like that.
I think I need to caffeinate a little bit.
I've been waiting on hold for 25 minutes. I'm ready to rock and roll.
I love this. I love the energy. Let's keep this going.
What do you want to talk about?
So like I was telling the other guy, basically, so I'm a Christian, right? And I mean, I just want to have a civil discussion as why I should, not believe in the Lord or not believe in the Christianity or not believe in religion versus being an atheist. Why should I choose to be an atheist versus choosing to be a believer of the Lord? And also, basically, why should I believe in atheism if it doesn't cost me anything, whereas believing in the Lord or believing in religion won't cost me anything as well? And what pros do I have to be an atheist versus what pros do I have to have a religion?
Okay, well, can I touch on this cost anything aspect?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Just because it doesn't cost money doesn't mean it doesn't cost anything. For many of us, especially women in the church, it cost us our autonomy. It cost us our self-worth. It cost us a lot of the ability to know how to function in healthy relationships outside of not being servants. So yes, even though it did not cost us a set amount of dollars, it cost us years of having to say, I am a person, which to me, there cannot be a value put on. It costs years of children saying, I have to completely obey my parents and being afraid to question authority and set boundaries and stand up for themselves. So yes, there is a cost when it comes to believing for mostly what we would consider minority groups.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I apologize. But I also have to think, and let's be honest with each other. It's 2020, right? Most of our minds are pretty open, right? So you believe what you want to believe. I believe what I want to believe. I don't know if you have any children or not, but you would raise your children differently than I would raise my children, whether or not we had the same religion or not, right? So even if you didn't believe and I didn't believe, there are certain morals and aspects that we could both most likely have a common ground on and say, okay, it's good to do this, it's not good to do this, right?
Okay.
It's not good to go out and kill somebody, it's not good to go out and rape somebody. But for the most part, since it's 2020, most millennials and, most people who are younger, for the most part, I should say, we all have pretty, similar, aspects on what we believe and how we live our lives. So, religion or not, I feel like whether or not in this upcoming generation that we're living in, it wouldn't necessarily make a difference if, we were based on one religion or based on another religion or not.
So hold on, Rudy. So you gave a lot, and I want to address two of them before they pop out of my head. One of them is, cool, we're becoming a more secular society, and we're learning to understand and be better neighbors. That's fantastic. That has nothing to do with whether or not your belief is justified, because it has nothing to do with whether or not your God exists. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that on hold. I agree with you that we're becoming a more secular society, and the more secular we become, the more we can empathize and broaden that tribe
and look
that
at
we're
more
taking
humanistic as far as more humanistic over religious view. Right?
Now, going back to the first thing you said, that's called Pascal's wager.
Yes. Thank you.
Have you heard of Pascal's wager?
I have not.
Okay, cool. I am happy to. So I'm going to try and do this visually. Okay. I know that you're not going to see it because there's going to be a bit of a delay. But so I want you to have this mental image. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you have 4 boxes, right?
Okay.
And one row is true and the other is false. And then going the other way, it's God and no God, right? So let me show you. If you believe in God and it's true, you go to heaven. Okay. If you believe in God and it's false, dirt nap. And then if you don't believe in God and it's true, you go to hell. If you don't believe in God and it's false, dirt nap. Right. And so when you called up and gave that first bit, it made me think about Pascal's wager, because the conclusion that Pascal came out with was, well, it's better to believe just in case. But here's the thing. What if it's a different God?
Yeah.
Right? What if it's
Odin?
Or Zeus?
For sure, right? right? I mean, we can sit and talk about monotheistic religions as well as polytheistic religions, about that there is, whether there be a God, whether there be an Allah. We could talk about Hinduism, how there's multiple gods, right? We could go by that.
Well,
but, I mean, if you believe that there is something in the sky, right, it doesn't necessarily have to be, the Hindu religion or the Muslim religion or any other religion, right? We could talk about Catholicism, everything all day. But if we believe that something is up there, right, just something is out there, right? It may not be like the other person was talking about, why does God, kill people? Why do mass shootings happen? Why do natural disasters happen? Why do people die every day? Putting all that aside, saying that there is a supernatural force out into the universe, then in theory, as long as we believe that there is something out there.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, because there already is supernatural forces.
Okay. Fantastic, Rudy. Let's talk about supernatural forces. Rudy, let's talk about supernatural forces, because I think that's where the linchpin is. How do you define supernatural?
Supernatural is something that our mind, in my opinion, to define supernatural is something that our mind could not comprehend. Something that is going to be like, if you were to tell that to somebody, they wouldn't believe it because it sounds off this world. It just doesn't sound like something that would be realistic.
Okay, so
an example.
So hold on a second. Hold on. No, that's okay. I think your definition is a bad one, and I'll tell you why. Because you can explain really advanced math concepts to me, and I would not understand it. That doesn't mean that it's supernatural. Or according to your definition, it would be supernatural. Right?
Well, not necessarily. I'm not saying that something that's beyond comprehension. Like, I mean,
that's exactly what you said.
Too, and I'm going to be like, I don't know what that is.
Exactly.
I think I have a better example of this.
Well, I mean, by his definition, that's supernatural, right?
Right.
So can you think of a definition that's better than that?
Better than that?
Because you just made advanced math supernatural.
Right. I understand what you're saying with the definition that I've given. And you do make a point that you are right, that my definition of supernatural is probably not going to be the best accurate definition. I'm talking about, like, forces and things that are not, that cannot be explained on this earth or in this universe. Okay. So, like, for example, we could talk chemistry, I won't understand it. We can talk another language, I wouldn't understand it. We can talk math, and I wouldn't understand it.
But what about the forces in the universe that we have yet to understand? Do you consider that supernatural, or is that just something we haven't figured out yet?
It would be supernatural, absolutely. So, for example, like, I mean, we could talk 500 years ago. We didn't know that there was such thing, as other planets, or we didn't understand that there were other universes. So would that be supernatural?
Would that still be supernatural? A couple thousand years ago, we didn't realize that the sun was a star. Would that still be supernatural? A couple thousand years ago, we didn't know that the sun was a star. So would you still consider that to be supernatural?
In that time period, yes.
Okay, that's
So this is something that can change with education and knowledge. Okay, that's what I wanted to clear up. Thank you.
Correct. It can change with education and knowledge. You're absolutely true.
Okay, why is that useful, and how does that point to a God?
So the fact of it is so. Let me get a second to regroup here. What I'm saying is that if there's something that's out there that we can't comprehend, or something that's supernatural and something that's out of our grasp of knowledge, then how do we know that there is, and how do we know that there isn't? And if there is a God, right, which I'm claiming that there is, then how do we know that we haven't found it, or how we haven't discovered it?
Well,
the universe is so big.
If you're claiming it's there, Rudy, then obviously you've discovered it. Help us get there with you.
Can I draw a counter conclusion to that, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
There were things that we, thousands of years ago, we said had to be God, because God did it. And then we found out, no, it wasn't God, they're actual processes. So wouldn't that count for God not existing and no longer being supernatural?
Well, according to those definitions of gods, apparently.
Right, because that's it. And if it's coming across to me and I'm kind of not getting it, please let me know. But by your definition, because there were things that were explained by God that have now been explained as something naturally occurring, then God is not supernatural and God should not exist.
Right. So I don't necessarily want to sit here and say that, like, things happen and things are created by God. I mean, so with the amount of science and technology we have today,
I can do that.
I mean,
cool.
We're capable of creating our own elements. We're capable of creating our own things. We grow things. We made cars, right? We made airplanes. Okay. So obviously, certain things that are in this world are not things that are made by God. They are made by man, But what I'm saying is, to boil it all down to one, just to one thing, and my main question is, so if there are supernatural things out there that we can't see, right? I mean, supernovas, black holes, we can see pictures, we can see videos, people can tell us about it, and we believe that it's true.
Right.
Right? So someone can tell us, oh, there's a galaxy that's 10,000 light years away. Here's a picture of it.
Okay.
And from NASA, let's just say. And we're like, okay, cool. There's the galaxy, and it's 10,000 light years away.
Okay.
There's a picture of it.
Rudy.
It's true. So
Rudy.
how can we believe
Rudy.
what science tells us versus what the Bible tells us? Because in the end, isn't it kind of the same
Rudy.
thing? It's the man showing us a picture
Rudy.
and we're kind of forced to believe it. Go ahead.
Jeez. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's just buckshot when it's like that, and I can't answer you when you do that.
Sorry.
That's okay. I know you weren't doing it on purpose. You're excited. So let's cut down a couple of those things. So the first one is it's called an appeal to mystery. You don't know, I don't know, therefore I'm right. Is what you said boiled down. You don't know, I don't know, therefore I'm right about my assertion. That's not evidence for your God. It's evidence that you don't know and I don't know.
Right.
That's all you get to say. So as long as you're going to appeal to that, you're not going to convince a damn person unless you don't know and I don't know I'm being that is bad reasoning. So
I could agree with that.
Cool. So please take that one out of your toolbox right away, because that definitely, I think that's going to affect your definition of supernatural, but that's okay because you can structure, work on it, and then test it from there. That's the scientific method, is you create a hypothesis, you explore, you test, and then after testing, you go back over it and say, okay, what did we get right? What did we get wrong? What did we learn from it? And then you go from there. You look for things that are falsifiable. The reason the science is different than the Bible is because the science doesn't make claims that it can't back up. It tries to explain them.
Right.
We use science as a tool so that we can continue to learn about the world. The Bible says this is how it is because. That's what's different about it, Rudy. One is a process that we can continue to use. The other is a dead end.
It's a definitive verb. It's a definitive term, and that's just how it is, and that's what it's going to be.
That's right.
Right.
That's what's different about it.
Right.
Right. So then let me ask you, so necessarily, and this is what I want to know about it. So, right, the Bible is written, right? Mm-hmm. People go, millions of people go to church every Sunday and read from a book that's several thousand years old, whereas scientists read from a book about studies and researches and things they found within the past week, within the past month, within the past year. But that's not to say, and this is just me saying, but there's no reason to say that everything that you read in the Bible necessarily has to be set in stone. Now, let me elaborate, okay? You talked with the last caller about how, who was it?
Rudy, do you go to church?
Wait, Rudy?
Rudy, hold on. Do you go to church?
I do not regularly go to church, no.
Okay.
But
can you think of a pastor in existence that would accept that?
Hold on, wait.
I mean,
I have a better question.
That's fine if you're unorthodox.
I have a better question. Can you remember a story in the Bible where things were actually written in stone and on stone?
No. No. I'm not obviously not going to lie to you because I want to tell you nothing but the truth. I don't want to come across as a liar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And
Okay.
I love
No.
that.
Yeah. That's why I asked.
Just what I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're saying everything's up to interpretation and you know I can make it flex, then what you're saying is I can't test it, and I can't accept that. I can't accept that. I'm not going to accept. Hey, Eric, you should totally drink what's in this mug. Trust me, it's great. Right? What's your reason for it? Well, right? Because that's what you're saying at that point is it's flexible. What? No, it's not flexible.
Even science is
science is not. You keep bringing up science as if it's this monolith. It's a method.
It's a method that is ever changing.
Right.
However, I've never seen the Bible or any biblical texts that have turned around and said they're ever changing. And in fact, the 10 commandments to live by were written in stone.
Right.
And could not be changed. And this is what you have to live by, or you're going to whatever your version of hell is.
And
for sure.
So again, you're specifically saying that we agree now that science is a method, right?
Science is a method, correct.
Okay. So
But
hold on.
let me ask you this.
Rudy,
Do you believe even the Big Bang?
Rudy, please.
What?
Please let me finish.
I'm sorry.
I want to finish the statement at some point.
And he's Eric has given you the space to finish your statement, so let's allow him to
I'm
finish.
sorry.
That's okay. This is charitable listening. That's what you do. You expect the best out of the other person because they're way more likely to live up to it.
For sure.
Rudy, I keep going back to this. I'm sorry, let me take a drink of water really quick. I keep going back to this because I want to show you why you're using a bad tool. Another one. And the bad tool that you're using is you're comparing two unlike things to prove one of them. You're comparing science and the Bible, right? So let's just break this down to the simplest we can. Let's say you're absolutely right about any claim that you make on science. Does that influence the truth value of the Bible? Okay, so then please throw that out, because any claim that you make about science does not back up the truth value of the Bible unless you're testing the Bible.
Right.
And you have to do that with science. But regardless, it's a false equivocation that doesn't get you anywhere. So even if we were to grant it, you agree it doesn't work. So pull that tool as well.
Yeah.
Maybe you can come up with more and call in again and use different reasoning, and we can try and sharpen those tools so that you can have the best understanding of this universe as possible. We're trying to do that to each other. Take that tool out. It's a false equivocation. It doesn't work.
Okay.
Cool.
I understand. So,
Awesome.
I have one last question.
What's up?
My last question is why should I be an atheist versus why should I be a Christian?
Okay.
What advantage do I have of believing that there's not a God versus an advantage I have of believing there is a God? Like you said in the beginning of the call, if I believe, then I go to heaven. If I don't believe, I go to hell.
Rudy, we're not shopping for a car here.
Yeah, exactly. We're not looking for power doors.
Whether or not there's advantages doesn't take into account whether or not it's true.
Right.
I don't care what's advantageous. I just want to know what's true. Right? If I were to tell you, look, if you walk into the other room, you're going to get $1 million. Does that make the $1 million true? I mean, I don't understand how you're getting to there. You're saying, what are the advantages of being an atheist? You're an atheist. What are the advantages of being a Christian? Well, there are things
besides
that you could
the heaven thing.
We can argue about things that are here on Earth. You know, there's community. There are excuses for people to do charitable works. I disagree with a lot of those methods.
But we could say that with the atheist community too.
Absolutely. I'm just saying that these are, these are things that people bring out, but it doesn't matter. It could be horrible.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing that I think that I'll give the Westboro Baptist Church is...
we're going there today? Okay, we're going to go there today.
But they are at least internally consistent, and they went, you know what, even if we don't like it, that's what we think is true. It's not about the advantages. It's about whether or not it's true.
Right.
You know, if you were to ask them, would you like to make friends? I'm sure they would. But the fact is they were convinced that that is true. So please... it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether or not there are advantages. It matters whether or not you have enough evidence to justify believing it.
And this is what you believe, and this is where you feel safe, and this is where you feel wanted, loved, and understood.
And so where you're going from there, I'm not asking you to not, I'm not asking you to be an atheist. I'm asking you to justify being a Christian because I don't think you're justified in it. And when you bring it up, when you give us examples, we can try and talk about it. And we gave you examples of why that reasoning you were using is not good, and you agreed with us. So please continue to reason. Please continue to explore. And the more you do, I think the more you can bring back and we can talk about it. I am convinced at this point that the evidence that I've been presented for various gods has been lacking. I don't see sufficient reason to accept the God claim.
I don't see sufficient reason to believe I'm a lesser being.
I mean, so I don't understand why you're comparing them. Like, we're not Toyota and Ford. We're not,
Right.
power windows
And tint.
and
GPS
butt warmers.
navigation on dash,
What we're saying is you should have good reason to believe the things that you believe.
Brilliantly said.
Cool.
Brilliantly said. I'm so glad you explained it that way. I'm going to, you know what? Now I'm going to read more. Now
Cool.
I'm going to learn more, right? And I want to come back to you, and I want to make good points.
That's
and
awesome.
I know you'll
Thank
make
you.
good counterpoints. And you know what, you guys?
What's up, man?
I understand your reasoning, and I understand your thinking, and I totally respect it.
Well, that's awesome.
I
man.
Thank
I
you.
wish I had more substantial, analogies and evidence to bring to you. And it sucks that I don't. It's kind of shitty. But, you've made valid points. You've made valid counterpoints. At the end of the day, you believe what you believe. And at the end of the day, I believe what I believe.
Boy.
So here's the one thing, man. I hope that what you take from this is that we respect you.
Right.
We respect Rudy. And
We-
Rudy
yes, we
respects
respect
Eric and Jen.
Right.
Of course.
Bad ideas don't deserve respect.
Exactly.
If somebody says, I'm justified in honor killing, well, it's not like just your idea and you got your beliefs and I got mine. I
Right.
think there's a good reason and a good, definitely a call to action for us to sit here and say, no, that is a really
Right,
fucking
no.
bad idea.
I can't respect the idea that if I have a boy, I'm worth more as a woman than if I have a girl and I did something wrong. I can't respect that idea. I can respect you and the things that you do. But
And
I
so-
can't respect that kind of idea.
Right. And so just saying, I respect your ideas. I don't care if you respect my ideas. Respect me.
Right.
Fuck the automatic idea that ideas deserve respect. They don't. People deserve respect. Ideas should be suspect. And we
And
should have
scrutinized.
damn good reason. That's right.
Right. Well, also, you got to remember at the end of the day, people earn respect, right? People don't just automatically right off the rip deserve it, right? Think about it. If a guy came on your show and immediately started dropping F-bombs and saying, well, F this, F that, F you, he doesn't deserve respect.
Well, actually, his
I
ideas
respect
don't
that,
deserve
but-
respect. His ideas don't deserve respect. But I'm talking about basic human decency, right? If somebody called
of
in
course.
and said, F that, F you, F this, F that, and we can say fuck on the show.
Yes, we can.
And it can be pretty fucking nice. That said, I am not justified in being an asshole to them because they did it.
Right.
Because that says everything about me.
Right.
They still get respect from me because I'm not going to lower myself to being an asshole because they were an asshole. People deserve respect.
Well, let me tell you this. You're a pretty big person, man, to give everyone respect. I have to give you that, honestly.
Well, cheers, brother. I appreciate it, man. We got a couple more
Absolutely,
calls that we
man.
want to
Hey.
get to.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so much
calling
for taking my
and
call.
speaking
You guys
with us.
enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.